Yes, people. What's going on? Eagle Talks Football, and we're back with another Arsenal panel show. Today, I have a wonderful panel for you guys. And we're going to be talking about the title race. We're going to be talking about the game versus Manchester United. We're going to see if Man City are going to drop any points and discuss that for a little bit, plus some Arsenal transfer news. Apparently, Ipswich are willing to bid £60 million for an Arsenal duo, and Arsenal might drop another 100 or 80 million pounds on another midfielder in the summer. But before we go any further, let's introduce the panel. First, my guy, Gunner Souls in the building, my right-hand man on the channel, always available. Big up to my guy showing up. And at 10 o'clock, I know you got work early in the morning. I appreciate it, bro. Big up to you. And then we also have Le African Gooner all the way from South Africa, if I'm not mistaken. No, Dubai now. You're in Dubai now.
Both, a mix of both.
South Africa, Dubai, wherever he's always around. Yeah, big up to you. You just came back from playing football and you made the stream. Big up to you. We got DAYO in the building all the way in. Are you in Canada or in America? Canada, right?
Texas, no. Texas.
Okay, he's in Texas. Let's
Austin,
get it.
Austin, Texas, yeah.
Austin, Texas, the capital, no?
Yeah, Central.
There we go. Man's in the capital of Texas right there. So we got people all over the world. And then we got my guy, Belgium. I don't know if he's in Belgium or if he's in London, but big up Belgium.
Hey, listen, I'm in London now, bro. I was born in Lower Clapton in London. Yeah.
There you go. And we got the man who's actually in Islington, Kenny Ken. You're in Islington, right?
Just outside Islington now.
There you go. If we all had a race to the stadium, you'd get there first.
Yeah, love to get there.
There you go. But yeah, let's get into it. Before we go any further, guys, they always say Arsenal need a killer. Arsenal need a killer. We just seen PSG over 2 legs not score a goal versus Dortmund. So is it overrated having a killer, or what do you guys think about that PSG game? Because we were just talking about it. We always talk about needing a striker, needing a killer.
I thought it was a fantastic
what just happened
game
there? Like, what?
I thought it was a great game of football. I thought it was. PSG didn't play badly. They just couldn't finish. I mean, they hit the framework quite a few times. But I thought, Max Hummels, the ball was just like a magnet to him, especially when he was heading it out. And they got the goal at the right time. But one thing is PSG, they didn't sit back. They had a lot of joy in that counter attack, and I think that's where the game was lost for PSG and one for Dortmund. That just shows you one thing. I didn't think that they were going to get to the final, but it just shows you if you have a game plan, you have forwards who can put the ball in that, and you defend well in this competition, you go far.
Facts. What about you guys? We were just talking about the backstage. Feel free.
I think for me, it was just like what's his name? The coach, PSG coach, what's his name? He's got it a little bit slightly wrong, because today he's been forced to play Ramos in the middle. And just to allow Mbappe, instead of Mbappe to be playing as a striker, to be allowing Mbappe to play on the wings, because it's like when Mbappe wants to take on players, it's easy for him. So Ramos played. Ramos of late has been scoring, but the thing is that consistency, that chemistry building up between him and Mbappe, it didn't exist. And we saw it. There were so many occasions, or there were so many scenarios which they were created. Then when they get to the final third, there was a clear-cut chance. Ramos, he just miskicked it. So it wasn't his day, and that's what normally happened. And you have to give it to Dortmund, because defensively they were top. The defensive line cover, they were spot on. So you have to give it to them. Both legs, they defended well. Organizations, stay compact when there's a need to be. So I think Dortmund deserve to go through, unfortunately.
You know what? Bring it back to Arsenal. Compare it. When we talk about strikers, we need that striker. They had Mbappe today. DAYO, why couldn't they get it done without Mbappe?
That's not how it works. Football doesn't work that way, and we all know it. See, it's always great to have an Mbappe on your team. It's always great to have amazing players on your team that can actually just grab the game by the neck and really do something. But the truth about it is, in knockout tournaments like this, it's a whole new ball game. This is not week in, week out league game. This is knockout. And in the knockout tournament, I guarantee you, it is he who scores first can decide to park the bus. Like in knockout tournament, this is not I'm going to come and play you next week, or I'm going to get 3 points again next week, or if I win my next 5 games, I stand a chance to still be challenging for something. So this is I come here, I score 1 goal, I park the ball. You might have that guy, he might be the killer guy who has been scoring, but today, the 3 people parking you, they're not allowing you to breathe. They are forcing you to give the balls to other people who cannot shoot as good as you. They're parking the bus in their own half, and then when they get the ball, they hoof it over and they run down the line and they start it again. They kick the ball out and frustrate your game. You guys have a flow going. They look at that foul. When PSG had a counter, that Dortmund player, what was his name? He pulled him in front of the referee and got a yellow card. I'm not going to let you counter attack us. I'm not going to give you guys momentum. I'm not going to give you flow. So it is what it is in knockout tournaments, man. Which is why I said, for me, like if Arsenal ever wants to go far in this knockout tournament, this is the kind of games we need to play. The way we need to play it. Go in there, score a goal, and be dirty. Just it's knockout. There's nothing. I mean, we're not fighting for 3 points. You're not fighting for. And I think PSG as well. They struck the bar a couple of times. They struck the post a couple of times, which means unlucky for them. And there's an element of luck. So you might have sharpshooters, you might have the best players, you might have a better team, you might have the better coach. But in knockout tournaments, everybody knows that he who scores first can, if they know exactly what they're doing, they defend for their lives. Most of the balls that hit the post is because why? Players close them down, they took the shot, and because you close them down that 1 centimeter outside where they have to shoot it, it strikes the post. Imagine not closing them down and it's coming on the inside. That's a goal. You know, so it is what it is, man.
One second, let me just go to African Gooner on this. Bro, do you see similarities to the frustrations that we had versus the likes of Newcastle, Aston Villa in today's game for PSG?
No, absolutely. I mean, personally, I'd rather have Dortmund go through to the final than PSG, just because it's a pure footballing team, and we know PSG kind of spent their money to get there, like Man City. So yeah, I'm not too fussed with the results. For me personally, I want to touch on Dembele, because I feel like we dodged the bullet on that one, and I'm so glad we did, because it would have been like a Thomas Lemar or a Pepe situation if we got him. I never rated him, and I still think he's an average player. You know, so Gal, when we talk about, like, you know, the top hitters, they really just have Mbappe, right? That other striker, Gonzalo. I mean, he's terrible. He had a Giroud performance today against Monaco, right? That was flashbacks for me. So yeah, I think in all honesty, happy that Dortmund got through. And I think in terms of us, and in terms of the discussion about having a star striker, there's no discussion about it. We need it. We need a clinical target man. We need a killer up front. It doesn't matter. You know, we talk about Mbappe having a poor game. You know, a lot of people talk about how Saka sometimes is not really having a great game. And this happens with players sometimes. You're not going to be at 110% every single game. And it just feels like it was one of those days for Mbappe where he was completely off of it. You know, sometimes you can be a one-man show, but we all know that football is an 11, player team. Like, it's a team sport. You know, one player can't really get you through, everything all the time. There's going to be times where it doesn't work out. And unfortunately, that happened for PSG today.
Yeah, we still need a striker. I get that, but I'm just pointing out the fact that
let me say something. Let me say something quickly.
One second, before you go, SULZ hasn't spoken at all, so just let him jump on this. SULZ, what do you think, man? Drawing the comparisons, do you think it's silly?
Let's cut the shit, man. PSG are overhyped. They're overrated. That's just what the institution is. They've built a team of superstars. They've not built a footballing side. I don't know why we're being nice about it. What's the point? Like, how many more opportunities, how many more stars do they need to bring in to win the Champions League? They simply do not know what squad building is. They've gone and done what we do when we open up Football Manager for the first time. Let's buy all these players. Bring them all in. Oh, but actually, they don't flip and play well together. I bought 10 wingers. You know, when Everton first got money, they bought Rooney, Sigurdsson. They bought 10s and thought it'd work. That's what PSG are doing. They're misprofiling players, they're misprofiling transfers, and yet people have this sympathy for them. Get out of here. You look at Dortmund, who built a team properly, and you see what happens. I told people PSG got no chance against Dortmund. Dortmund are defaults through to the final. You can try with the Mbappe story, but it ain't going to happen. You need a footballing team to beat a footballing team. You have to be able to understand how profiles work. We are no longer in this era of just superstars can win you games. And no, they also need players who can do their jobs. You need a DM who can DM. You need a CM who can CM. You don't need like just the fancy names. Oh, look at us who we bought. Yes, you may win transfer windows. You may win those windows. But if you can't bring profiles together, complement the Mbappes, guess what happens? This. Superstars don't win you games. Teams do. Cups are not won by single individuals. They're won by teams. And that's why I keep saying to people, be careful what you wish for, because we can destroy everything we've worked for by bringing a superstar in. Bringing one player who now takes away all your goals from the team can cause this mess as well. As much as it'd be brilliant to have a clinical striker, I want a plan B striker. I don't necessarily want someone to come in and ruin the flow of the team. I want someone to come in and go, do you know what? This game isn't going our way. We need someone to just lump in there, just cross the ball in, go to plan B. That's what I really want. I don't need the Victor Osimhens to win these games. I want, even if you can get me like a Gyökeres, if you can go get me a Ivan Toney, just a different profile to change your game, I'm happy with that. Because I understand, right, the modern day football is no longer about the big name signings. It's no longer about who's got the biggest names in their team. It's about who's got the most complementary pairings and squads. Look at Gabriel and Saliba. They ain't the fanciest of names, but they complement each other. Look at Saka, right? He might not be your traditional winger who can take on 10 men, but he gets the ball, doesn't Arjen Robben, cuts inside and shoots and scores. That's what you sometimes need. You just need players who can just do their jobs. Forget the names. Forget all of this fancy, oh, look at us. We've got Messi, Neymar, Mbappe in our strike. We're defos winning the Champions League. You flopped. Now you've got these B-Tech players and you still flopped.
Hey.
So learn from it. Don't make the same mistakes that these big clubs are making. Learn from it and understand, what does Pep Guardiola do when he gets £1 billion to spend? The guy buys players that everyone looks at and goes, that's an odd signing. Yeah. But guess what happens? They turn into superstars. Funny, and right? Klopp done the same. Salah got scrutinized. Mane got scrutinized. Firmino got scrutinized. Henderson got scrutinized. Wijnaldum got scrutinized. Robertson got scrutinized. Trent gets scrutinized. All of these players get scrutinized. But what happens? He turned them into superstars. Why? Because he understood, if I buy these players and I make them play this way, I have a team. I don't have individuals. And that's what wins you cups.
Facts. Big up Aussie Gooner. He's saying Arsenal are a team that works because all work in attack and defense. That is true. True. Belgium. I was just gonna move off this topic. Maybe we can link it later on when we talk about the strikers and stuff. But we got a lot to talk about, and we're already 15 minutes in. So people, do me a favor, hit that like button, and if you're watching on Twitter, come join us on YouTube. It's absolutely free. Egal Talks Football. But yeah, Kenny Ken, everybody in the chat, did you guys see what happened today with Fulham? It's not looking good. It's not looking good.
Stop it. Egal. Don't read into it. Don't read into it. It's new. It's just at the end of the training, they're just flying kites. Come on, you know full well they'll work their nuts off in training. From the game they played against Brentford, they probably would have had a day off on a Sunday. From back high on Monday to the rest of the week, they'll have had a game plan because they're playing against the best team in the country, one of the best teams in the world. They're going to have. They'll be work.
I don't want to see this from a team that I'm hoping will pick up points versus Man City.
But hold on, Egal. This is the funny thing about like if you actively take part in sports, right? These guys probably like this is the best thing they could be doing, relaxing themselves a day in between when they're going to do another set of hard training or whatever it is. Like when I did active sports, after a fight or after a workout or after we're done training, we always work down, relax your muscle, go do something chill, take your mind off it. If you're consistently like, no, I'm going to no, it's not. There's a time for everything. There's a time to relax. And look, Fulham, if they're on holiday right now and they feel like they're gonna lose and they don't care anymore, that's not on us. I mean, I honestly right now, I don't care about City's games. I don't care who they're playing. If we lose our last 2 games, I'll be mad at Arteta. That's all I care about. Just win me my last 2 games and let me walk out of the season with my head held high. If City decide to go drop points, that's on them. If Fulham decides to go all out and beat City, that's on them. If West Ham on the last day decides we're going to stop them and play 0-0, that's on them. All I care about is Mikel, win me my next 2 games. Let me go out at the end of the season and say, you know what? In 2024, you lost 1 game, you drew 1, and you won all your. We played 17 games so far, 1-15. Like, please, like I don't.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this is the question though: will Man City drop points, and when?
The thing about the Fulham, right? Like, just to go back to that, like every elite sport, when you look at it, when you're looking at combat sport, whether you're looking at basketball, what do the players do before games? They have music on, they'll have podcasts on, they'll have massages done. They kind of just relax themselves because that's what you need to do in the big occasions. Like for Fulham, Man City is a pressured game, regardless of whether the stakes are high for us. The stakes are high for them as well because they've got a season that they need to conclude as well. And for them, what's the best thing to do? You don't focus on these games like it's the last thing that's going to happen. You need to relax yourself and not let the nerves build up. If all you're doing is prepping, that's the worst thing you can do. Even when you look at exams, for example, you know what the worst thing you can do is an overnighter before the exam. I know a lot of people do it, but they're the ones who tend to struggle in there. But if you can get a good night's rest, you're probably going to perform better. So I wouldn't look too much into it. But in terms of Man City dropping points, it doesn't look likely because they should be beating Fulham, they should be beating Spurs, and who's their last game? West Ham are going to roll over for them. So unless Fulham can do something, I don't see them dropping it. I think this weekend concludes the league for me. If they beat Fulham, it's done.
West Ham. David Moyes is leaving, so
West Ham have a loyalty to City. By the way, they have a weird friendship.
And they hate us because we stole their captain. We stole their star.
I think for me, I don't share you guys' view in terms of a City going to drop a point. And what was that? Somebody said, Arteta, go and win me these 2 games remaining. And that's what, I mean, that's what matters.
Yeah.
And the thing is that, I just want to put it this way. Last season, the expectation was high. And Arsenal, for some reason, we were not able to meet up with the expectation because it was too high. This season, Arteta's got experience how to deal with it. It's kind of managed to implement that psychological kind of strategy on the players, and they know how to deal with when it comes to these big games. So we going for the title. The title is not over yet. Is City going to drop point? Of course they'll drop point. Forget about what happened with Fulham today or what you saw. At the end of the day, maybe that's another strategy. Maybe that's another way of doing their homework. But I believe Tottenham, no matter if they don't drop point against Fulham, they'll definitely will drop point against Tottenham. Because Tottenham, if you look at Ange's position right now, is lost back-to-back games 4 times. So obviously they got Fulham. They'll be playing Fulham very soon, and they only got 2 more games to be playing at home. And their last game, home game, is against Man City. Are you telling me that they will just cross their arms and they will
No. It won't be forced, but trust me, the way that Spurs play suits Man City to a T.
But Gunnar Solskjaer, you need to. But you hear what he's saying, though. You hear what he's saying.
I hear it. They have to beat us. They have to beat us. What did they do? They have their legs wide open for us.
Gunnar Solskjaer, hold on. I agree. Hear me out. So what we're saying is that even if we look at Tottenham is going to lose the rest of their games this season. So they're going to lose 7 on the bounce. Is that what we're saying?
I don't think so.
Exactly. So hear me out. So here's what we're saying, though. You know, usually when teams lose, they get to a point where it's like, there's a bounce back. It's like we have to get, whether it's at the end of the season or not. He's saying if Tottenham lose their next game and then they have to go on to play City, that means 5 losses on the bounce. No. Look, see, we said the same thing about Chelsea when they played Burnley, and I told people, I said Burnley could actually go there and get.
But Chelsea is a different situation.
No, but it's foot. See, Gunnar Solskjaer, I can sit here and say this team is better, but I cannot predict what will happen in the game. I can tell you,
but certain scenarios are not as surprising as others. When you look at but all I'm saying is look at the strategies both play. Look at the tactics they both played. That's all I'm saying. If you put City with a high line with Haaland and KDB against you, you're done for. That's a
I
hat
hear,
trick pending.
I hear you, right? And we've seen them play other teams that played them a high line, and City struggled with them this season as well. City has had their off days in games, but they found a way to score 1 goal or 2 goals. What I'm saying is there's also another side on the end of the spectrum to the other team. The other team has been losing, and now they're like, look, we need to win at least 2 games or 3. We're not fighting for anything, but for dignity. Like just the fact that we can't turn around and be like, Tottenham lost 7 games back to back, or lost 4, 1-1, then lost the last 2. You see what I'm saying? Like that mentality as well. So you have to think about it from the way they're going to
It's
be
not
thinking.
a mentality thing, though. You look at it, okay?
It is.
You look
It
at
is
certain,
also.
but you
It
look
is
at
also
certain
because
games, right?
City
You
has
look at
not.
the
City
tactics
has
and
not
how
scored. Listen, City has not beat them except during the FA Cup at their stadium in the last 6 games. Or this 6, yeah, in the last 6 games they played. City hasn't scored at their stadium in the last 6 games outside the FA Cup in the league. That's another thing which is why I said mentality-wise, you've been losing. Now, a team that has never scored against you at your stadium, a team that has never really beat you at your stadium except during the FA Cup, you're like, man, you know what? Let me see if I have a bounce back. I'm not saying they will win, but I'm saying they will give a fight.
Hey,
So to think that
let me hear from the rest of the guys for a second, guys. Let me hear from the rest of the
game
guys.
ain't the one that I'm putting any hope on.
Let me hear from the rest of the guys for a second.
Yeah,
Obviously, we know what games we have, and we're going to talk about them in a second. I'm just going to go to Kenny Ken in a second. Kenny Ken, do you have any faith in any of these other teams picking up points versus Man City? You're on mute, mate.
You're on mute.
It's one game at a time. You can't. City can't play Spurs before they play Fulham. That's the next game. The Spurs game is the next. It isn't the next game of the rack. Is Fulham. You know, one thing I would say is that both teams are running out of games. We're running out of possible snookers. You know, whatever happens between Craven Cottage, what happens at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, the events at Old Trafford is paramount. We got to concentrate on our own game. City can drop points to their heart content, but if we don't beat Man United, then it's going to be to no avail. And that's what we got to do. We've got to beat Man United. In terms of Fulham, look, the reason why a lot of people are looking at City is because they're banging form. When was the last time City lost a game? The last time they lost Premiership.
December 6th. December. They haven't lost a game since December.
They haven't lost since Aston Villa, isn't it? Since Aston Villa.
They haven't lost since December 6th. Just take that.
So,
since December 6th, they've not lost a game.
Yeah, so they're banging form. So you're looking at the City side. You're looking at the fact that although Haaland's been, people think Haaland's been hit and miss. In 28 games, he's got 25 goals. So the pessimism from Arsenal fans is well grounded. However, you never know what's going to happen at the Craven Cottage. If they do win at Craven Cottage, then we have to win at Old Trafford, and then we can talk about the Spurs.
No, we have to win all our games irrespective.
We're talking one game at a time, though. You can't play Everton before you play Man United. So that's what I'm saying. One game at a time. We've got to go one game at a time. So the first building block is City are playing at 12:30 on Saturday.
So you guys are saying Arsenal need a miracle, and City can drop points, but they won't.
Arsenal need to win all their games. That's what we're saying. Arsenal need to win all their games to have a chance of winning the title. If they don't win all their games, irrespective of City's results against the 3 London sides, it wouldn't matter anything. City would just, like I said, win the title without having to work their nuts off. We've got to make City work. That's what I'm saying.
What are you saying, African Gooner?
Yeah, I mean, personally for me, I have 2 situations in my mind. The first one is that we win all our games and Man City win all their games. And it's just one of those things. We finish on 89 points, which usually wins you the league in pretty much every season. I think that's the first possibility. The second, which is the one with a higher likelihood of happening that I think, that I'm preparing myself for. And the second one for me is I think people are discrediting Spurs. I know they're terrible, but I mean, they play decent against big teams. So for me, forget Fulham and West Ham. That's the game that I think maybe they can get a draw. I don't think they'll win, but that's the game I'm really hoping that maybe it'll be a 0-0 or a 1-1 because they have players to hurt them. I think Fulham doesn't have players to hurt them, and I think West Ham are just going to be on the beach. Their fans are already talking about opening up their to take a 6-0 beating. So yeah, look. I'm not depending on them.
And it's 3 London clubs that we're depending on.
I know it's
No,
going to
but
be a
But
shame.
here's the thing, though. Like,
let's hear 1 second. Let me hear from Belgium. He on this. Belgium,
Thank
do you have
you.
any faith?
Do you know what? Do you know what? I've heard everyone. I mean, do you know everyone's making a point? But the thing is that, listen, City coming to Fulham, right? And the following week playing Tottenham, there's no way that City will not drop points. There's no way. I mean, I just don't understand these narratives when people coming up or when people come up and say, "Oh, City, that's it. They're going to win every single game." Football is not mathematics. Yeah, it can just go wrong for them on a day. We'll be shocked, and I believe that if Fulham doesn't do it, Tottenham will do it. So I still believe that the City will drop point. But surely we got to make sure that we take care of our business. We go by our
Okay.
business. So
I-
on Sunday, we got to win.
so
I think that's a good
yeah,
segue. But
Okay, go
before Dayo wanted to say one more thing, and we're gonna go on to the Manchester United game.
yeah, I'm just saying, like, in football, anything can happen. We all know that, but we have to be very realistic. City look, and hear me out. This is what I'm saying. They look like a team that is not going to drop points. That's how they look, and that's how they're playing right now.
No.
They look in form. No, they look. Hear me out. Is what look. Mike Tyson was the heavyweight boxer of the world, beating everybody from when he was 18. When he fought with James Buster Douglas, nobody expected that he would get knocked out, and nobody believed that fight was going to happen the way it did. Tyson was still the scariest man, but he got knocked out. What I'm saying is, you might look the part, and there might be a stumbling block in your path, or there may not be. You may surmount it. Regardless of what it is, I just want to be able to say that they did not win the league until the last day because we won all our games. And if they stumble on the way, and then they give it to us, I'll take it. But I
you
don't
still
want
have to believe it, my friend. You
no,
still have to
no.
believe
That's
it.
what I'm saying. I believe. Listen,
You're sitting
you
on
know
the
what I
fence.
believe?
You're
Belgium,
not
no,
too sure.
Belgium.
You're sitting on the
What I believe is that Arsenal will win their next two games. That's my
Okay.
belief. I'm not
Okay.
on. My thing is win our next two games. City can go on and do whatever the hell they want. If they want to go stumble, please go stumble. But as long as Arsenal don't lose against Manchester United and hand the league to City this weekend, and say, here you go, we've lost, because we're all talking about will City drop points. If we go and play a draw at Old Trafford because we think that they're crap, even though they've been crap, but we know what Old Trafford sets up for us all the time.
No,
So
we're
I'm
gonna
more
be there.
concerned. Yeah, I'm concerned about us going there and winning. We get our points. We go to Everton. We get our points. Whatever City does, if City likes, they should get excited. Okay, well, now we just have West Ham on the last day and play crazy and get a red card and go down to 10 men, and West Ham decide to win 2-1. You know, Mikel Antonio, somebody, hey, good luck to us. If it doesn't happen,
Did you not see how they just played this
I know, yeah,
week?
but this is
Hey,
what
he makes a point. He makes a
we've
point,
seen,
guys.
we've seen this happen.
Guys,
We've seen
Old
teams play
Trafford,
badly one week and the
Old
next week step
Trafford,
up their game.
Old Trafford is
Yeah.
a place where we struggle to play. Do you guys think we'll have the same level of guru that we always do? And I think I'm going to come to SULZ last on this because I kind of have an idea where he's going to go with this. He being Manchester born and bred. Talk to me, Kenny Ken. What do you think? Arsenal versus Manchester United. Are you going into that game very confident? Are you going actually? You usually go.
No, I'm not going to the game. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make the game. But one thing I would say is that, look, the fact is that it's in Arsenal's best interest to ignore what happened yesterday. You know, don't take anything from the fact that result. You got to be professional. You know, we got to impose our game. We got to be on the front foot. But if Man United start fast, we know that we can defend, and we just have to, you know, take the game as it is. But we have to be fully focused. We have to assume that Fernandes is going to play. We have to assume that Rashford is going to play. We have to assume that they're going to want to, you know, eradicate what happened yesterday, and we've got to be prepared for every eventuality.
Do you think it will be a tough game?
Yes, because of simple reasons that Man United at Old Trafford is always tough, regardless of the fact that they've had some dodgy results. They had a dodgy result yesterday, and the fact that Bournemouth has gone there, Crystal Palace have gone there and won games, and obviously Man City have won there comfortably. We've got a wretched record against Man United. We've only won once in 18 years. Last season, we actually played all right. But Man United in the counter attack, Rashford and last shoulder, they managed to take the game away from us. So I don't I don't go there and think, yeah, we should beat Man United and that we're going to win. I think we're the better side. I'm pretty confident, but I'm not disrespectful to what Man United can offer. I'm not disrespectful towards the Old Trafford, and the occasion, because we know that Man United are going to raise their game. They're not into this. Oh yeah, we're going to lay down because it's Man City. No, I don't think so. I think the fans won't tolerate another a thrashing from yesterday.
Yeah, but Kenny, don't you see that? Don't you see that this is the right time to play them? Because obviously they had a bad game yesterday.
You know what? Belgium.
Wait. And no matter how it will take time for them to recover mentally.
Maybe, but you know what? Football's a funny old game. If you get smashed like Man United did yesterday, the first thing you want to do, you can't wait for the next game to right those wrongs. And there's no better team to right those wrongs against us. On Sky against a team that is challenged for the title, the team that is probably against probably one of the best teams in the league. You're thinking, you know what? We've got nothing to lose here. Everyone's going to expect us to get thrashed. Even our fans, all 75,000, expect us to get thrashed. We're now going to say, right, if Arsenal are going to win this game, they're going to have to kill us to win this game. They're going to have that mentality, the same mentality they had against Liverpool. When Liverpool went there at their pomp, they went a goal down, then a goal out of the gods from Fernandes, they were 2-1 up. All right, Liverpool
we can defend better than Liverpool, though.
That's what I'm saying.
Our defensive line is fantastic spot, though.
Yeah, but
Belgium, they have nothing to lose. Belgium, if they come into that game, right, even if we win and then we pick up 2-3 injuries or 3 injury knocks, just because they're coming to try to right their own wrong. We get a knock on someone like Saliba, or we get a knock on someone like Odegaard. You know how that affects us against Everton. So regardless of what we're saying that yes, we're the better team. We are the better team. We can go there and we can get the points. We know we can. But we're going to play a Manchester United that is a wounded. Have you ever tried this to help a wounded dog?
No. But that's why I don't.
That's what I'm saying. Like, no. Let me just land. No, let me land. I agree with you. See, you're missing the. I'm not saying it's not. It is the time to play them. Listen, it is the time to play them, right?
Yes.
But a wounded dog, it is the hardest animal, right? Backed up against the wall. You're going to eventually catch it. Yes, but it's not going to be an easy game for us. It is the best time to play them.
That's the point you made. That's a good point.
All I'm saying is, but we cannot. No. We should not underestimate them because it's going to be very difficult. It's going to be very difficult.
You're not getting this point right. Listen, look at Tottenham. Well, they lost to Arsenal. No, they lost to Newcastle. People were saying, "Oh, they were going to recover." They lost to us. People were saying, "Oh, they recovered." They went to Chelsea. They lost. They went to Liverpool. They lost. So the same scenarios. We just got to go there and believe in ourselves and make sure that, listen, we just do what needed to be doing with good game plan. And when we get to the final third, make sure that we create those scenarios, get to the final third, and make sure that we execute that. So I think that's Arsenal. We got a good chance.
Let me go to African Gooner. What are you saying, bro? Do you think it's going to be a thing where we show up and we smash them, or do you think it's going to be a tough game?
I mean, looking at it, all things considered, we should be smashing them this weekend. But my primary focus isn't about how many goals we score. Frankly, I said this before on Twitter earlier. I think the most important thing is getting the 3 points. Whether it's a 1-0, 2-0, I frankly don't care. I think everyone's mentioned it on this podcast before. We have a hoodoo at Old Trafford. I think we've won there once in the last decade, or I think something like that. It's just terrible results when we go there, especially. I mean, we know why we watch all the games. We know many times we go there where we should be winning, where they are the underdogs. We're in a great position and we somehow don't manage it. We get a draw or something, right? So I agree with DAYO. I agree with everyone in terms of let's take it game by game. For me personally, I think we have too much for United. And yeah, obviously they're not getting rid of Ten Hag, so no new manager bounce, which I was kind of a little bit worried about. After last night's humiliation, because that's just classic the way it would happen for Arsenal, that United would sack their manager.
But away from home, they're terrible. You guys remember under Arsene Wenger, the final season, how bad we were away from home. I don't think we won many games away from home that year, like 4 games.
Yeah, but I mean, but this season we have the best record away from home. I think Arsenal has the best away record in the league.
All
this
that
season.
matters is the points, bro.
But all that matters is the pragmatic football. We go there to play 3 points. Like, look, I believe that we can go there and flex on them, right? But if I'm Arteta, I'm not trying to flex. I want my 3 points. I'm going to
What
say
about
to
the goal
boys,
difference, though?
yeah, no, listen,
You might
just
need it.
listen.
Yeah,
Igal,
do it against
Igal,
Everton on the last
Igal,
day. That's
do it exactly. Like, be pragmatic. Just go in there, boys. Score 1, score 2 before the first half. Let's defend for it and let's keep it nice and easy. Sustain your energy. Don't overwork yourself. Don't pull your hamstring. Don't get yourself knocked around and get injured. Keep that 2 goal. We come in second half. Create 1 or 2 more opportunities. Set pieces. Let's use what we're strong at. Win set pieces, Bukayo Saka. Tell Saka, drive a couple of times and let them foul you. Let's get our set pieces in. Get the headers in. If we can get 3 set pieces and score 1, make it 3, lock up shop. If it's 2-0, lock up shop. But my thing is, we should not go there and be like, we're the better team. We have 2 more games. Let's smash them. And then exert all our energy to score 6, 7 goals because we're looking for goals difference. Like, if we do that to ourselves, literally, like, I remember this.
We could need goal difference, though.
But no, but yeah, what's the goal difference right now between us and City? What is the goal difference? 6 goals. Great. So if we score 2, 3 more goals now, we go back to 9, right? It will go back to 8-9. If we play Everton and we do the same thing, it will go back to 8-9. Unless City is going to beat everybody that they play going forward now, 4-0, 4-0, 4-0, they can't surpass our goals difference. At the end of the day, they might even tie our goals difference if they struggle to score those kind of goals. So goals difference is great. We've already accumulated that starting in January. We did the business in January. We accumulated as much as we could. I think right now, pragmatic football. We know you can win, but going with a game plan, nobody's trying to get a red card here. Nobody's trying to get hurt here. Everybody's trying to get in there, create the chances that we know we can create. If we realize that they're playing a low block and we're not able to break them down, we let the wingers know, you drive in and get us set pieces. You know we're good at set pieces. Let
me just say this quickly. At this moment in time, Manchester United have no Harry Maguire, no Lisandro Martinez, no Luke Shaw, no Rashford, no Varane, no Scott McTominay, no Bruno. Bruno might be available for that game. They're missing Victor Lindelof and academy youngster Willie Campbell. They are injury riddled. If we go to their house and we play the way that we are good at and we can play, I could see them. I could see us turning them over. I'm not going to say it's going to guarantee an easy game, but I can see us turning them over.
Iga, let me say something. Even on top of that, listen. Do you know their centre back is Johnny Evans? Right? That's the only centre back they've got. And yesterday, assuming
Martinez could be back Sunday, apparently.
Oh yeah, but yesterday, assuming that what's the name, Palace, so their forward, Olise, they were technically good compared to Arsenal. I think they will have scored many goals. And I mean, to say, I think we'll go there and be more pragmatic. But at the same time, so if there's opportunities, if we manage to create those scenarios, which will lead to goals, many goals, I think they should score. So I mean, there shouldn't be any problem. Like,
we should do that, but we shouldn't go and do it in Gear 5. That's all I'm saying.
All right, guys. Finally, let's hear from Gunner Souls, because this is a guy who lives in Manchester, who's going to have to hear from these Man United fans all year. I want to know
one second. Let me make this point quickly. We were just talking about striker. Normally, you get transformational striker, and I don't know. Arsenal fans, everyone just picking up that narrative. We don't need no striker. The way we play as a striker, you have to drop deep. We might, people talking about Ivan Toney just to come in and bring a bit of variations. But in terms of focal point striker, I thought that Arsenal will be going for it. So that's me.
All right, Souls, talk to me.
I'm looking forward to this game. I mean, they bragged about getting Dr. Death. We warned them that all you're going to get is injuries with this guy. Gary O'Driscoll signs for United. He's their head doctor. And now guess what? They ain't got a fit centre-back other than Johnny Evans. But like I say, be careful what you wish for, United fans, because we warned you and you were buzzing that you took him. So happy to get rid of him. And now the proof's in the pudding. Like a lot of people said, he's one of the main reasons why Thomas Partey couldn't stay fit. He's one of the key reasons why Jesus' injuries kept happening. He's one of the key reasons why a lot of these reoccurring players who keep getting injured, same as Tomiyasu. And this is, by the way, confirmed by back ends and sources from the club. So I'm glad he's gone, and now he's their problem. But when it comes to this game, right, a lot of people are sitting here and saying, look, we've got to take it easy, this, that, and the other. They've got no defense. They've got no defense. And don't forget what happened. We went 3-0 to Spurs, and we could have drawn or lost that game on another day. Even a 2-0 can sometimes, as good as our defense is, they've got bozo moments in them. You know, Raya, what was he doing? And like, I'm not saying this is going to happen.
That's harsh, SULZ. That's harsh, man. I mean,
No,
like, we don't make that many
harsh, but
mistakes.
it's reality. Forget
You know what's harsh? We only have like
make
20
that many
likes on the
mistakes,
video.
man. We don't make that many
No,
mistakes.
guys, you know what's harsh? We only have 20
what-
likes on the video. Guys, do me a favor. Hit the like button right now. It's absolutely free. It doesn't cost you a penny. I think that's harsh. We need at least 50 likes minimum.
But
Like,
what I'm saying is, when we look at a lot of these away games, especially the big one, Chelsea, for example, Mudryk, I'm not blaming the play, but what I'm saying is these moments can happen.
Yeah,
and they
for
have
sure.
happened enough. Yeah, the second goal, the Van de Ven goal could have been allowed on another day. Like, these sort of moments, right, can change these ties. Look, they have got dangerous attackers. Let's not put it to, if you give Bruno Fernandes an opportunity that he won't score, if you don't give Anthony enough space, he can't score. As bad as he is, he does score. Like, let's not put it that way. Garnacho can score. So we can't just be like, oh, we can definitely sit on a 2-0, because if we had sat on a 2-0 against Spurs, we'd draw that game, potentially lose it. So we need to also be cautious of how the game is being played. As much as I don't want them to go all out, this is the game to do it. Everton's probably the last game where we won't be able to do anything with goal difference. They've got, regardless of how much they've been spanked, they've got one of the second or third best defense in the league. Pickford only a game ago could have taken the Golden Glove. So let's not do this whole narrative of Everton as shit, or they're on the beaches. They still want to win. They still want to beat us, as much as, they've got nothing to really play for.
Yeah, but we know on the last game of the season, we punished teams 5-0 the last 2-3 seasons.
But, point is, we don't, like you've all been saying on this panel, we don't know it's football. It can happen. But when it comes to United, this is the prime opportunity to get that voodoo off you. When else? When you've got no centre back,
which is why we beat them. Which is why we have to be pragmatic when we go there, because we're making it sound like because they have no centre backs right now. We can just hold on. We can just go there right now. They have no centre backs, so definitely Arsenal have to beat them. Look, football will humble you.
Did I say they have to? They have to beat them regardless. I don't even care if they've got a fit team. We have to win.
That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we go in there with our own game plan. Be pragmatic. Go in there. If we need to win 2-0 and lock up shop and make sure that we don't give them the chance to play at all, they don't get shots on target at us, they're unable to play, we lock them in and we walk away with a 2-0.
Listen, hold on. Not going to happen.
Listen, no. Against a team like United, Crystal Palace beat them 4-0. Nobody thought it would happen. Anything can happen in football. I'm saying if we have the capacity as Arsenal at the level that we are at playing right now to go to a team, be able to score 2-3 goals and hold that lead. Of course, Tottenham is a derby. And remember, I said this before that Tottenham game. I said, in derbies, anything can happen.
Shall I carry on?
Listen, anything can happen, right?
Shall I carry on? Because there are other games as well where we had the lead we could have held on to, but it didn't happen.
SULZ, bottom line is, we should not be underestimating them and making statements like they don't have centre backs. We don't care if they don't have centre backs. The point let's be practical.
Did you hear the full point? I said they don't have centre backs. When's a better time to beat them? Did you not hear all of it?
I heard that, and I'm just saying, whether or not they have centre backs or not, this is the time to say, Arsenal, go in there, play the football you know how to play, be pragmatic, get your 3 points. I am not interested in fancy football, smashing of United, 7-0, 8-0. I don't care about that right now. I care about 3 points. I care about you not losing the ball. I care about Ryan.
You guys are saying the same thing.
I know.
What I clearly said right was but what I said because Dayo didn't want to hear it. So I'm going to say.
I heard you.
I'm just didn't though. You've completely taken what I said in the wrong way. What I said was
1 second, Belgium. Let them finish their argument, then you can jump in.
I did say the centre back bit because I said when's a better opportunity to beat them when a team doesn't have a defence. It is a valid point to make. It's not, let's ignore that. And that's not me saying go out and beat them 7-0. All I said is this is the best time to beat them. How you beat them, that's up to you. You can play a 1-0.
I hear you.
Second thing I said was we can't do this thing of let's just have a 1-0 or 2-0 lead and sit on it, because they've got players. Look at Rashford, bangs it, just 30-yard bang, done. That's 1 goal. And they've got players like that who can do that, who have done that. in previous
But-
games
Okay,
that we
guys,
played. So
I-
sometimes, right? No, 1 second, Igor, because I want to
I
clarify
want to
the
bring
point.
everybody back
So
into it.
when it comes to like a 2-0, yes, we can sit on a 2-0, and yes, we can see the game out. But sometimes things go against you. Like the Spurs game, like I said, I'm not here to blame players. Mudrik's goal was a freak of a goal. Chelsea were 2-0 up, and then they let the rising happen. In these sort of moments, right, any little thing can turn the tide. Spurs could have nearly drew to us if on another day Romero scores one of those
So we
headers.
should be.
Okay,
So
guys,
we should be more.
I
Sorry,
need to.
You got
I
20
need to.
seconds. 20
Bro,
seconds.
respectfully, I need to put a bow on this because we're going to drag on this argument for way too long. There's still other topics we need to get onto. Plus, there's some other people who haven't spoken much yet. So I want to get their takes on this too. But I hear you guys, and we can maybe keep this going another time. But when it comes down to the game itself, we don't need to give score predictions. We can save that for later in the week when we know who's going to be fit and available. But going on to the rest of the season and everything else, there's a transfer window coming up. And with the transfer window, there's some player sales potentially and some incomings, outgoings. We're not going to speak about the ones that we always speak about, like, for example, Jesus, Zinchenko. We'll leave those to the side for now. Let's talk about this rumor that came out yesterday. Supposedly, Ipswich have submitted, are preparing a 60 million pound offer for the Arsenal duo, Eddie Nketiah and Emile Smith-Rowe. And first person I'm going to start with on this one is Kenny Ken. Kenny Ken, when you hear this offer, 60 million, first of all, do you think it's a good price? And are you willing to sell that Arsenal duo to Ipswich for 60 million?
I'm willing to sell them full stop. Whoever comes up with the money, I'll take. You know, personally, I think they're absolute fools to even consider going to Ipswich, especially since you know, it's highly likely that they could be fighting to stay in the division. I think Eddie, that's probably about his level. But when you're talking about Smith-Rowe, I think Smith-Rowe could do better than that. But £60 million, that's money you've got to take, because I do think that the money that the club potentially are going to offer, give Arteta for a war chest, I don't think it's going to be enough, 200 million. I think you may going to need a bit more money on top of that. So if you can sell a couple of players and use the Ipswich money as part of your war chest, I'm all for that. Because I do think that there's certain positions that we have to fill in, and a certain a position that the club will want to fill in, i.e. striker. I do think that we're going to. Are you
saying yes? You would sell them for 60 million, though?
I'll sell them full stop. 60 million is about right for the fact that they've hardly featured. Well, Smith-Rowe's hardly featured. Eddie, since the turn of the calendar year, is basically like an afterthought in terms of how he's been used by our manager. Sometimes he's not used at all. He's not needed. So yeah, £60 million, fantastic for both players. I'll take it, because remember, Aston Villa are offering £40 million for Smith-Rowe 2 years ago. That was the season before we started challenging for Europe. So I don't think any club right at the moment is going to offer £40 million for Smith-Rowe. So £6 million combined for those two players. Bite the hands off.
What about you, African Gooner? Would you sell Eddie and Smith-Rowe for 60 million, or would you try to
take the money and run and never look back? Never look back, guys. If you could get 60 million for those two, that's incredible, honestly, because I don't think they're worth that. I think maybe they're worth around 40 to 45 million, if we're being really honest. Personally, I think for me, Arteta, the way he's managed ESR, we've devalued him ourselves. I think if it was a year ago and if he was playing and a bit more game time, we probably could have gone 30, 35, maybe 40 million for him. And even in Nketiah, since Jesus and since Havertz has been killing it, he's completely out of the team. And Arteta gave him the number 14 and new contract. And it's just been a mess with these two players. For me personally, Gal, and to the rest of the panel, these guys should have been gone maybe a year ago, even 2 seasons ago. So it's no discussion that they need to leave. Now it's about maximizing the amount of money that we can get in for them. They're obviously English players. They're young. Ipswich has a lot of money, obviously. And I think if they're willing to come to the table with 60 million, you got to take it and you got to negotiate that deal. It would be really good to see us get these sales across the line early on in the summer transfer window, so we can use this money into the striker, the midfielder, the left back, whoever we're going to be looking to sign come the summer. But I mean, for me, I think something that's really important for me this summer from Arsenal and from Edu Gaspar specifically is selling, because we all know that we can buy good players. We've proved that now with Rice, with Ben White. I mean, we can list so many players, but the selling is still not adequate enough for me. And we've given Edu some slack because he had to deal with a lot of mess, but now we have really good players that are valuable. They're good assets that we can sell on. So I think it's going to be really important for me to see how Edu does this transfer window. I think it's going to be important to see how he manages it, and he's got to maximize. I'm looking to get maybe 100+ million from our outgoings, and it's pure profit for a lot of them because it's from academy players, and then we can move forward and start spending that money. I mean, during the Champions League game, Arsenal have been linked with Frankie de Jong, who's a player that I really, really want, over Bruno Guimarães. So that's going to be really interesting and see how that develops. And yeah, I love transfer season, man. I mean, it's always really fun, especially when your team is doing really well. And, we've been waiting many, many years to get to this point where we're shopping at the top of the food chain for the best players. We've never been really here, in my lifetime, shopping for the best of the best. So I'm really excited now that Arsenal are here and we can spend the money and we can attract the players that we want. And it's going to be really exciting. I can't wait for it.
Belgium, are you selling Eddie Nketiah for 30 million? Are you selling Smith Rowe for 30 million?
Listen, first of all, I don't believe in those rumors. And secondly, Kenny and African Gooner, I'm not going to sell Eddie, right? Listen.
What?
Should we get the Ghanaian flag out?
Kenny, everyone's talking.
Let him land.
Let me land. Listen. We would earlier on, before we started the show, we were talking about PSG. It's not about buying players left and right. All of a sudden, you're going to win the top trophies. Football team is made of fantastic players with average players. Eddie is our second choice striker.
No, he's not. No, he's not. Sorry, no, he's not. He's not our second choice striker.
Listen, he's still our second choice striker.
No, he's not.
Because remember, forget it. If the special treatment Kai Havertz is receiving, if Eddie is giving that 1/4 of that special treatment,
he has. Because Jesus was out last season and he got it.
What are you talking about? Where? Listen, this season,
Kai Havertz has to pass what Eddie Nketiah has done in 4 years in one season, bro.
Let me finish. I kept quiet. Everyone was talking. In fact, this season, if we were in this good position, it's thanks to Eddie.
We were in a good position.
Relax yourself. Kai Havertz, his first goal he scored, that pen against Bournemouth, it was Eddie who got that pen. Yeah, and he was given to Kai Havertz. Yeah, that same energy, that same love that you guys will show Kai Havertz, show that little one to Eddie. Do you understand?
You gotta deserve it. You gotta merit it.
Well, it's ridiculous when Arsenal fans sometimes they're trying to diss the boy. Yeah, he hasn't done anything wrong, right? And
no, he hasn't. He's just not good enough.
Of course, it says by who? You set up did he set up the benchmark? You set up the standard for Arsenal. It went through the process. Listen, it went to the academy. No, let me say something. Because I was saying this, you know what? When it comes to this stuff, sometimes, the way you guys diss the boy is so ridiculous.
It's not dissing him if you
say
they're not good enough.
Wait. Let me finish my point. Just hear me out. First of all, where we are today, and when you're talking about striker, I've said it many times. When it comes to attacking movement, it's got that attribute. When it comes to reading the game, it's got that attribute. When it comes to the only problem that Eddie has, and possibly you might kind of be trying to coach him over, is the decision making. Apart from that, early this season, when Jesus was in there, he was the one taking the team,
but we had no one else.
Our first game, right? Listen, as I said, if you listen to me, football team is not about having Mbappe in the football team. You have Mbappe, you have Declan Rice, you have Saka, and you have Eddie. That's how team is configured. Yeah. That's how football team is configured. It's not about having everyone Mbappe. And people who's talking about buy these players, buy these players. Declan Rice, when he's doing Arsenal, he was struggling.
Okay, so Belgium.
I have
would
no
you
idea what
sell-
the point is even.
One second,
about
one
right
second. Belgium, would you keep Eddie Nketiah and sell Gabriel Jesus?
Yes.
Oh my
Definitely.
God!
Yes.
Oh
Yes.
my God!
Okay, let me tell you. You see, that's the thing. You know, when you talk, always put context and logic into it, right? I'll say Gabriel Jesus because when you put him on the market, yeah, there's a plausibility that teams will come for him. When you put Eddie on the market, how much are you going to get? Eddie,
Exactly, you're just proving our point that he's not worth anything.
Relax yourself. Eddie, listen, okay, if you're looking at the metrics, how many goals has Gabriel Jesus scored this season? He's supposed to be our striker.
They're
We
both
paid
not good enough.
45 million for him.
Like I've said it before, and I'll say it again. They're not good enough.
Look at the
They're
metrics.
both not.
Of course, they're good
Yeah, they're
enough.
both not.
What do you mean? What's the definition
They're
of
not good enough to be
What's
the
the definition of not being
number
good
9.
enough?
They're
You
not
guys
good enough to be
say
the number
things
9 for
sometimes.
Arsenal.
You say things sometimes that you don't even understand it.
Hey,
You don't
Gal.
put context into it.
Put a
What
poll
do
up.
you mean?
So you're telling
Put a
me they're
poll
good
up
enough
in
for
the
Arsenal?
chat,
Yeah, of course they're good enough for Arsenal.
Why?
I just said football team is full of.
So you actually say why you dissing Jesus
listen
by
to
your
me,
own
listen to me.
standard. No, 1 second, because you've spoken a lot. Yeah, by your
No,
own
but you were
standard, you said
talking, I didn't interrupt
Jesus'
you.
numbers. You were talking about numbers, right? Jesus has got 4 goals. What's Nketiah done? He's had opportunities. He doesn't take them.
What opportunities did they give him? What
Last season, he was
come on,
pretty much
Belgium.
listen, what did he do? How many games did he get last season? Because Jesus was injured for half the game.
Is that 5 minutes? Is that 5 minutes to come on?
No. Don't be
that
disingenuous now.
what are you talking about?
Last season, was Jesus injured or not? And who led the line?
Well, so what did he do? How many goals
Not
did he not
enough.
score last season?
Clearly not enough. Because
He
why
did well.
did
He did well last
season. Then?
Last season, how many goals did he not score?
So the manager
He
doesn't
did
trust
well.
him.
He
Why
did
is he
well
not
last
being
season.
used? Why is Havertz being played there now?
Oh, listen, he paid 65 million for Kai Havertz. What are you talking about?
So it doesn't matter how much you spend.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. He paid
Let me
65
tell you
million.
something.
Okay. No, but he's got
because
by that
listen,
logic, he's got a
it does
45 million
piss me
pound Gabriel
It does
Jesus that
piss
he
me
doesn't
off
play.
when people
Yo,
use their
one second, bro. Everyone take a chill pill. Can we just? I just want to go around the room. Ken, would you keep Gabriel Jesus or would you sell him also?
Look, the fact is that Eddie's hasn't been valued for money. You have to, sell. There is no
Value
prospect
for money.
of
We didn't pay a penny for him.
No,
You're right.
we
He came to the academy.
In terms of his salary, come on. I meant his salary.
Okay.
The fact is that Eddie is not good enough to play for Arsenal. He's not good enough, and Arsenal just have to cut the losses. The fact that we got him a free. Let me land. We've heard you. Let me land. The fact we've got him we gave him a 3-year contract. We can now get a fee for him. It's time to cash in. Is Eddie realistically? How many games is Eddie going to play next season?
0. Only FA Cup and League Cup.
What's the point of having him there? In terms of Jesus, exactly. Jesus is an interesting situation. His injuries have reduced his effectiveness. The thing is that when you look at FFP and you look at the fact the war chest we're going to get, there are players that you have to think, right, I'm going to have to make a sacrifice now because we've got the best. Is he one of the players that I think I've got to sell this player in order to improve in other areas? He's on my list to the players that I'll sell, not for footballing reasons, but for necessity reasons. If the £200 million that we get from Ed from the board isn't enough to strengthen the areas we need to strengthen, so you're going to have to make sacrifices. Because I'll tell you one thing: once that £200 million is spent, the first thing the club are going to say to the fans, like yourselves, "Oh, we couldn't spend anymore because of FFP." You know the rules.
It's different this year, Kenny, for us because we're on the 3rd year, we're on a new fresh start of our FFP on our 3rd year. After 3 years it clears, and then you're allowed to spend a little bit more. So of course we have Champions League money as well from quarterfinals, TV rights money. I think totaling almost about 80 or is it 90 million, right around there already. With whatever the war chest that they want to bring in and whatever players we sell, we should have enough to be able to buy and replenish. But if you had to ask me if I'm going to sell Eddie and ESR, I'd say yes. And I'm not saying yes, not for sentimental reasons. I've always been sentimental about Arsenal and players. Like, I'm always like, I love this player. I don't want him to go. These are players that I love. I love both of them. Like in the group chat, Igal, you've seen me defending Eddie. You see how people come at me. I defend Eddie everywhere I go. But for running the business and footballing reasons, I'll say, you know what? Eddie deserves better to play more games week in, week out as a player. But he's not going to get that at Arsenal. So if I'm Eddie, I'll go somewhere else where I can get it. And for 30 million each, dude, they're both academy players. That's full profit, number one. If I take that 16 million, right, plus whatever else we have, and then I get one other, and I want my Arsenal team to be a team where I'm not sentimental to players. If you come in, we give you one season, you play, you don't play very well, I move you on and bring the right person. Like we're talking about not superstars, but somebody else who I know that if this person is injured and you step in, you're going to do the business. That's what I want. That's the rotation I want. So for me, it's unfair. It's unfair. Look, it's unfair to ESR. Hold on, sorry, guys. It's unfair to ESR and also unfair to Eddie because if they stay at Arsenal, they will not get a lot of games. And both of them are getting to 24 now, 23, 24. Before you know it, one more season, you're in the peak of your powers, 25. You're about, then at that stage, it's like, where do you want to go? If you go to a team where you can play today consistently and your game can be upped, Arsenal could come back with put a clause in your contract and could come back and buy you in 2 years.
I just want to
come and lead the line. So
I want to ask one question, but this I want to know yes or no, guys. No context.
Let me just
one second, Belgium, please. Yes or no question. We're gonna Eddie and Nketiah. You guys are okay with selling him in the summer? Yes or no?
Yes,
I'm okay with selling him.
No.
Okay. Emile Smith Rowe, are you okay with selling him in the summer?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Now, next person. Are you okay with selling Kieran Tierney? Everyone should be.
Yeah. I love him. I love him to death.
I love him.
But I'm no longer sentimental about players. Look, if you're not performing, get out of my club.
Zinchenko.
No,
out.
there's no,
Yes.
I'm in the middle.
Listen, there's nothing being sentimental. There's nothing called my club. At the end of the day, I said it and I'll keep on saying it again. Football clubs is not about, get this player in. All of a sudden, the player needs to do well. No, the player has to settle down. Yeah, there's got to be a structure for the player to settle down. It's not just like the way we say it. That's what I keep on saying to people. I mean, computer football is quite different from when it comes to real football. You know?
I understand that, Belgium, but we're having a discussion here. I need to move it on respectfully. Let's talk about another Ghanaian, though. Thomas Partey. He's being linked to Barcelona. Barcelona want to sign Thomas Partey. My question to you guys: Barcelona put 25 million on the table. Are you taking it?
No.
You haven't enough.
No.
Are you,
More
Barcelona
money.
put 30 million on the table. Are you taking it?
Nope.
No. Not,
You guys really think we can get the money we paid for him back?
How much do you think
45
Barcelona have to put on the table?
45
guys,
minimum. That's the bare minimum.
Remember, he has 1 year remaining on his contract.
Yeah, 45 million minimum.
he's a top player.
Guys,
He's a top
no
player.
one can hear everybody.
Sorry, Miguel and Belgium, the conversation we're having, he's going. We're just saying, like, let's.
We're not saying he's going.
We're not. Nobody's pushing an agenda here. Nobody's saying these things are going to happen.
By the way, Belgium, the club did not sell Thomas Partey in the summer, but they were feeling out offers. Right now, Barcelona are preparing to make a move for Thomas Partey. Plus, Edu has met with people over in Saudi Arabia. There is rumors that Thomas Partey could potentially leave in the summer. There's nothing guaranteed. I'm not saying I'm not asking you if you want to keep him. I'm saying if you were to sell him, at what price would you be willing to sell him at?
50 million, 50.
35.
I don't think that's realistic.
35.
You can't say that's not realistic. You asked me what price I put on the value of my player that I think, regardless of his 1 year contract or not, the value I put on Thomas Partey is 60 million to Saudi. If you want Thomas from me,
to Saudi,
that's what I'm saying. If you want Thomas from me, put up 60 million. If you can't put up 60 million, I'm keeping my player. He's more valuable to me than whatever.
Yeah, but even to go to Saudi.
No, I'm just saying.
Listen. The player has to be willing to go to Saudi.
Of course, we're painting a
hype. You can't just tell the player to go to Saudi.
Belgium,
there's a
Belgium,
process.
we're painting a hypothetical, saying how much is the value that we can put on Thomas Partey if, as a player, we wanted this. We're not saying,
what's
we're
the
not
right
talking about the
question?
fact that he's going to go and he's going. Of course, we know that in all ramifications, the player, the agents, the clubs have to agree. But just saying, how much would I sell? Okay, good example. How much do you think I would sell Odegaard for today if somebody wanted to give me an offer? Of course,
100 plus
If it's
million.
100 plus
70.
100 plus million. You know what I'm saying?
Bro,
Like that's
200.
you know what I'm saying?
No,
Like that's what we're saying. We're not saying he's going. We're just saying
It'll be the same 60 or 70. Well, Iga, and again to what normally what clubs normally does is with the party situation right now, we saw how important it is for the team. Yeah, we
He's been
saw
good.
how again to where Declan Rice, people were thinking Declan Rice could play 6. No, he can't play 6 because he hasn't
Yes,
got
he
the
can
attributes.
play 6.
No, he
can
cannot play 6.
Sunday.
He cannot. Don't argue. Listen, listen. I'm not talking about I apply context and logic to it, right? Not about sentiment. Yeah, Declan can't play 6. It's
But
not
that's
about sitting
hilarious
there and
because you
play
want to
6.
keep
It's
players
not
that are
listen,
million.
when you play 6.
Sorry. Stop for a second. Did you say Declan Rice can't play the 6?
He can't play
Yeah.
the 6.
Belgium. That's the funniest
I
thing.
know.
He can't play
Hold
the
on,
6.
Belgium. You can't. No. I
Guys,
want to.
don't argue with me.
No. Don't
Listen,
do that. Don't do that. Don't
actually
push
a
that
6 and
narrative.
we're converting him to
Don't
the
don't
by the
push
way.
that narrative. Don't push that narrative. Last week, Declan Rice sat down and did an interview, right? An in-depth interview with the the Athletic. He had an interview where they sat down and they were asking him about what role him and they asked Arteta as well. He said he's a 6, but Arteta wants to play his 6 in a different position, and they drew on the pitch. I paid for that entire interview to sit down and watch and listen to it. So this is not. Listen, brother. You cannot sit here. You cannot sit here. Listen, you cannot sit here. You cannot sit here and say Declan Rice is not a 6.
Listen, I've been all over. I've been
all over too. I've been playing football for years.
Please, I don't know about your age. I'm not in my 20s. I'm telling you about football.
I'm not in my 20s. I'm not in my 30s.
I'm not in my 30s.
I'm not in my 30s.
I'm in my 50s. Yeah,
I'm in my 50s. I'm knocking 50s.
I've seen it all. I've been to finals. I've been to listen.
I'm knocking 50s.
I'm not talking about. I'm telling you right now. When it comes to the 6th position, yeah, that's why. No matter how it's. Why is he playing the box-to-box game? Why is he playing? Why? What's the name? If he's okay, then he can play that position. Why Arteta did not? Just decided. You know what? Let me switch it. Let me just ask Partey to be playing it. It's not just about playing as a 6. You got to be more positioning.
This is
right, and you got to be playing vertical balls. And you got to be quick with your transition.
Are you saying Thomas Partey is we can't get rid of Partey? He's too valuable.
You can't. Yes, you cannot. Arteta won't do it.
But one second.
Did he tell you this? Just to be clear.
One second. Belgium, we played 90% of the season without him.
Well, excuse me. We played we didn't play 90% of the season without him. Listen,
80.
It came on. No, even less than that. Then again, within that period, we lost. We did not lose the game, and people were crying. People were shouting on social media. We need Partey back.
He's probably played 4 games in total this season.
Why is he playing Declan Rice as a 6? He can't play as a 6. I think it seems to me that people use too much of emotion, and that's what I always say. Apply context and logic to any conversation you try to have. Listen, I love Declan Rice. He's a good player. But when it comes to that position, that 6, it's not just about running. No, you got to use your mind. You got to use your brain. You got to be smart. Declan Rice is a fantastic player, but he can't. Position,
I love Belgium.
That position is only for one player. And
Belgium,
that's Partey.
Belgium, 1 second. So no price you're selling Partey. Everyone else here, 50 million, 40 million.
Yeah, 50 million to Saudi Arabia, 35
I wouldn't be surprised if the club got 35 million, they sell him.
Yeah.
Anyways, moving on from this, the final point. If would you guys take Bruno Guimarães, and how much money are you willing to spend on Bruno Guimarães? Because reportedly Newcastle won 100 million, but reports came out today that Arsenal could potentially get him for 75 million to 80 million. So,
Yeah.
do you think Bruno Guimarães is worth 75 to 80 million? And would you take him at Arsenal? I'll start with Kenny Ken. What you saying?
Very good player. He has got a goal threat. One thing I do worry about sometimes is mobility. We play a very high energy, high paced game. I think if there was a bit more pace to his game, it's all day long. But he is a player that I'd like. He's worth what Arsenal are prepared to pay for him and what the clubs agree. I'm gonna sit on the fence this one because I don't think he's worth 80 million. I think I'm probably looking at the price we pay for Kai. 65 million be about right. 80 million is a bit steep for me. 65 million. Now you're talking. I like the fact he scores goals. I am worried. Just as the pace thing, but who knows? I didn't think Kai Havertz had pace until I saw him in the flesh for us. So I love to be proven wrong by that. But he is someone who keeps possession well. To be honest, everyone's talking about 8 role. He can play in that 8 role as well, Guimarães. So I don't see any reason why we should be looking at him. As I said, I want goals from my midfielders, and I want some sort of creativity as well. And I do think he has both. Potentially has both. And I think playing in a better team, I expect a return because he's got experience of playing in their league. So yeah, but 80 million. It's not my money, but I would say 65 million pounds.
65 million. What about you, SULZ? What do you think about Bruno Guimarães? Would you take him at Arsenal? And do you think the price tag that we're looking at is reasonable?
I think the issue comes to the price really, because when you look at 80 million pounds, that market is big. In terms of bringing a midfielder in who can do the 6 or the 8 role. You've got Zubimendi, you've got Onana from Everton, you've got many other players as well who fit the profile, who fit the bill. When it comes to 80 million pounds for Bruno Guimarães, I rate the player, but I think there's a lot more concerns with the player when you're looking at 80 million pounds than when you look at someone who can come in and do probably just equally as a good job and maybe cost you 45 million. Because we don't know what the role or what the intentions of bringing Bruno in. Is it going to be to play the 6 role? Is it going to be to play the 8? Are we going to kind of train? Yeah, is it going to change into a double pivot more than like a 4-2-3-1 where Arteta first started off? Or are we going to start to see a difference in that? I think it all comes down to what are we overall doing with this signing? Are we bringing him in to facilitate more of a winger that we're looking to bring in? Or are we bringing a striker in? Because that then opens up a different opportunity for what midfielder we should bring in. So I think at 80 million pounds, there's too many questions than solutions at the moment. And I feel like at that price point, there's way better players, in my opinion. I'd rather bring Florian Wirtz in if we're playing him in the 8. If we're bringing him in as 6, it's still too much money. Like Kenny said, I'd be more comfortable around the 60 million pound mark. I think that's about right for the player. You've also got to take his temperament into it as well. There are moments, I'm not saying he's got discipline issues, but he can lose his head. He is one of those players who can get into a scuffle, and we know at Arsenal you kind of don't have.
Maybe we need one of those guys.
We don't. But
there's a level to losing your head as well. Like
what makes you?
We had that in Granit Xhaka for many years. We had it in Granit Xhaka. Hold on. Did it pay off for us? No. In games where you go get a red card for no reason because you just want to elbow somebody, or you lose your mind and you get banned for 3 games.
The thing is, Newcastle gets away with it, but at Arsenal, everything's scrutinized. The referees
I agree. That's a good point. Very good point.
We don't need it. I like the guy.
Are you guys saying Bruno Guimarães, he's a no-go for you guys?
The price is too high.
I'm saying the price is too high.
The price is too high.
I haven't given my opinion yet. The market at 80 million pounds just opens up too much. So
can you name some midfielders potentially around 80 million pounds that we could get that you think are better?
Yeah, Paqueta could be another option.
Paqueta.
Yeah,
Paqueta.
No,
if you want
he's going to go to Man City.
No.
He's just what he's saying. African Gunner, hear what he's saying.
Like a player.
He's saying like players in that cut that could cost that amount.
Is
of
he
money.
80 or is he 100?
There's a lot of.
You can get him for 80, I think. But okay, even if you take that away, you've got, like you said, Frankie de Jong's another one. Florian Wirtz could be around that kind of price. You're looking at Onana from Everton. They're struggling. Probably even go down to 40 million for him as well. So that's what I've got a problem with. I think when you look at, if you're talking that market of player, unless he's absolutely going to answer all, like Declan Rice answers so many questions and has really little problems that you're looking at. Whereas with Guimarães, I'm still got concerns. So that's not a good thing at that price. But I want a near perfect.
Well, let me say something.
Gabby Simmons is not a midfielder for me. He's a
He
run.
can
He's a
He
winger.
can play the 8. He can
Let
play
me
the
say
8. He
something.
can play the
Let me say
wing.
something.
Go ahead, Belgium.
Guimarães will be a good option. Listen, how much did Newcastle pay for him? They paid more than
65 mil.
Yeah,
60
in fact, Arsenal, we were meant to buy him. He and what's his name? We were literally in conversation with Guimarães before he moved to Newcastle, right? And listen,
40 million.
Premier League is improved. I know sometimes it can
Yeah, it
go
was
a little
40
bit
million
off.
euros. Sorry.
Yeah, and I know that it can go a little bit off, but it's a good option. And I just don't understand when people say, "Oh, bring Zubimendi, bring this." They're forgetting that. Listen, we got this. What's the name? This Chelsea. Not.
Big up Mark Tyler for this membership.
We've got this Chelsea player. What's it? Enzo Fernandez. He came in after 2 seasons for Benfica, and he's not been able to settle.
He's been shocking.
105 million. Then everyone's talking, "Oh, bring De Jong." What has De Jong done at Barca? So all of a sudden he'll come to Arsenal and he'll start doing well. No.
Guys, what
Is
about
that
this
what happened
comment?
with Kai Havertz?
Let me
One
finish.
second.
Let me-
What about this comment? Do you care about the price if the player plays well?
Yeah, so no.
No.
If the player plays
No.
well, we don't care. But what that's not the point any of us have made. The point that we're making is when you're looking at the £80 million market, are there better options? That's what all we've said.
Which better options? I think it fit in the. I mean, listen. Do you know what the way Arsenal want to play to go forward? I think Guimarães is fit. In terms
Would
of
you guys go get
ID,
Kimmich for 30 mil?
No, he's too old.
I
Kimmich
think I
is
don't
not
want
old.
someone that we don't know where they're gonna play, what position, and like it's confusing. Is he gonna be left back or midfield? No, I just want someone who we know what positions they play, and we just go for it. And
If Newcastle would take ESR and take 40 million for Guimarães, I'll take him.
Guimarães.
I'm saying I'll do a swap deal. I'll give Newcastle ESR and you take 40 million and take ESR and give me Guimarães. Like I would do that deal because I feel like yes, for how we want to play, he fits the team. But my thing is for that price, 80 million pounds, which is about 100 million euros, which means I can go out there even in the Premier League. There are midfielders in his class as
Paulinho,
well.
you
know, 5 million for
Paulinho from Fulham is a good. Paqueta is a good shout.
No,
for that price,
I just don't understand you guys. We pay 105 million for Declan.
For Declan Rice.
Yeah, and Guimarães. People say, "Oh, don't pay 80 million for Guimarães."
That's not what I'm saying. That's not what we're saying. You're not listening, Belgium. What I said, Belgium. What we said is that he's a good player in the 80 million market, but there are other midfielders in the Premier League just like him in that 80 million too. So the question is,
of the players?
Listen, I've been naming. We've named
been
5.
Naming them.
I named Paqueta. I named Paulinho from Fulham. We've named midfielders. We've named and named. What we're saying is the question should now be okay. What questions does Guimarães answer for Arsenal? What questions do these other midfielders answer? The one that fits the best. Since it's an 80 million pound market and there's about 2, 3, 4 players there, let's pick the one that is the best. Let's not just go by, we're just going to pick Guimarães because that's the whole
honestly,
and that's all we're saying.
That's not the conversation.
I don't think
that's the conversation we're having.
No.
One second. I don't think we make our transfer business as public as this early. So maybe we don't know who Arsenal really want to sign. But finally, before we go, I'm just going to ask you guys one last question. And this question could open a whole can of worms, but I'm willing to do it. If you were to go and spend money on a forward this summer, what would you? Which forward would it be? Because I generally don't know what we're going to do for the striker.
No, it has to be Isaac. It has to be Isaac. I mean, I was going to say this when we were talking about Bruno Guimarães, in my opinion. I mean, firstly, the 80 million, I get it, right? If we're in their position, we are going to try and maximize the amount of money. They know that he's an informed player and that a lot of teams want him. So they will put the price up. We know that. But also, a lot of people are not talking about the fact that Newcastle are not going to let both big hitters go. So I don't see it happening. It's going to be one or the other. So for me personally, I'll take Isaac because I think he completely fits this team. He's going to be the new Thierry Henry.
Oh, by the way, Isac's on their non-transfer. They're not going to sell him. They've already said they're not selling him.
But you know, money talks, right? I mean, things can change.
Well, actually giving him 150, that meant it, but other than that, it won't.
Yeah,
They
but
want
I mean,
big-
we're just saying like what striker do you like? We're not saying this is why like
The
at this
question
stage,
is, which
which
striker
would you
should-
go for regardless? Like who
Yeah,
do you think
exactly. Who
fits
cares who
Arsenal?
player for
Like,
sale or
Guys,
not?
like right now,
guys, 1 second. This is the question. The question is, which striker should Arsenal sign in the summer? Not which one you think we actually would. If you were the scout, who
Can
would
it be
you
an
want
attacker
Arsenal
or
to
does it
sign?
have to be a striker?
You can pick whatever you want.
Okay. Well, who-
So
do you want
I'll
me
start
to
with
answer?
Kenny Ken. Who would you sign?
Thing about a striker, you know what? GOONER SULZ, kind of. I was doing 100 meters, and he kind of made me pull up a hamstring by asking, "Does it have to be a striker?" The reason I've pulled up a hamstring is because the thing is that he's made me think that striker's a bit of a redundant. Thierry Henry's basically killed what a striker is. There's very few and far between.
Yeah.
The only two strikers of note in world football are Harry Kane and Haaland. Apart from that, you're basically getting strikers who can basically play off the shoulder one time. Sometimes they can drop into midfield. Sometimes they can play on the left, cut him with their left foot or cut him with their right. So you're basically asking. You're basically asking who not a striker, but you want a complete forward. So who's the complete forward who can make us better? I think that's the question. For me, I do like Ivan. I know he hasn't scored since for a couple of months, but I do like Ivan because I do think that a fully fit Ivan will enhance their play. But I do like Isak. However, with Isak,
Injuries.
What about Osimhen?
You know what?
Dude, I'd love to see it.
You know what? I have to have another look at him because I don't want to look at the African Cup of Nations and think, right, if that's the only sort of tapes that I've got to look at, I've got to look at, what he did last year in Italy and take into consideration. But at the moment, I am going towards Ivan in terms of like the fact that he's played. He's he can make the
club. The club have basically put out PR saying Ivan Toney's not the kind of personality that they would like to bring to the
club. I understand what I'm saying, but everything we're talking about is hypothetical, and it's basically who we think should be the main man.
Yeah.
But I have to admit, GOONER SULZ is giving me a bit of a hammy because he's basically ruined the word striker.
He's basically saying we can go get Rodrigo or Vinicius.
So if I go by complete forward, I'm still going to go Ivan.
Are you saying Mbappe?
Let me say this, right? I would go Isak as well, and I'll tell you why I'll go Isak because he's injury prone. I remember the last time you asked me this, I said no, I don't want Isak, his injuries and all that. But
Belgium is a legend.
But I thought about it very well, and I looked at him and I looked at his injury. Like I looked at how many days off and how many games and the return on what he's given the team and his age as well. Ivan Toney is also another shout, but Ivan Toney is what 27, 28. Yeah, he's going to give me a couple of
him and Ollie Watkins.
Watkins, they'll give me 2-3 years, but Isak is 24. I can get a good 5 years out of him, man. In those 5 years, coupled with injury or whatever it is, his return for investment over the next 5-6 years before he's 30. You know what I'm saying is, for me, is part of the things I look at. So he's a player that will fit into the Arsenal team well. He's also still young, and he's also got Premiership experience. And so, coupled with all of that, I mean, he's on what 17 goals
and
this
UCL
season?
experience as well.
Yeah, he's on 17 goals this season with his injuries.
20 goals, I think. The
Sorry,
first
20.
player to get 20 goals.
20. Yeah, the first player to score 20 for Newcastle since Alan Shearer. And he's been out for a few games. So if I had a player like that in Arsenal who gave me 20 goals this season, those goals probably would have come in like the Aston Villa game or some of those games that the West Ham, the Fulham. That's all I'm asking for. Like I'm not asking for a 30-40 goal of season player. I don't need that. The way Arsenal plays, we share the goals. Our defense has contributed 14 goals this season. In our defense alone, all the back four defenders. The last game we played, every 10 outfield player had a shot on goal. Every single player had a shot on goal. All
That's
10.
crazy.
That's insane. Like, and I love that about the team. So for me, Isak would be it for the money, for the age, for the fact that he has Premiership experience. Man, I'll stick with Isak because of his age and return on the investment. I think he'll work.
And he has a relationship with Odegaard, which he would love to rekindle. We'd love to see it. Feel like an Ozil Sanchez partnership. I think, in my opinion.
I think it's time we hear from Belgium. Belgium, who's the striker you want to sign?
Well, I'll tell you what. Earlier on, I said, for us, everyone's kind of that narrative that we need a striker. We don't. That's one. Secondly,
we don't need a striker.
Yes. Secondly, to get a transformational striker, you have to pay against the odds. Thirdly, everyone's talking about, Kenny was talking about Ivan Toney. When he came back, how many goals has he scored?
Yeah,
everyone's talking about Isaac. I remember Isaac at one point, Arsenal, we literally went for him before he went to Newcastle. I might slightly edge towards Isaac. But the thing is that people's talking about the experience. He's only been in this Premier League for 2 seasons. The 20 goals he scored is not in the league, it's in all competition. So
no, it's in the league.
Arsenal, it's not just in the league. And the thing is,
I'll check.
Yeah.
So I'll check.
Yeah. And the thing is that if he comes to Arsenal, the way we play, because we're not going to be playing with focal point striker, like City's does, where they have to kind of change it. But it might bring some kind of variations into our game. I wouldn't mind. But are we going to be paying up to 90 or 100 million for him?
We might have to. By the way, this is the last topic.
Isak's got 20 league goals. He's got 20 league goals.
Just so people can go to bed, I'm going to wrap it up here. But SULZ, you're the last person. Talk to me.
Bring me Rafael. Yeah, I'll leave it short and simple.
He's a winger, though. He's not a striker.
I don't want a striker. I'm telling you. I've got
who's your 2 strikers next season then? So Kai Havertz,
Martinelli, Kai Havertz, done.
Bring me Rafael
out, and I'll deliver you the treble. That's all I'm saying.
Fair enough.
Interesting.
I mean, if you said what striker should they sign, they should be ambitious and go get Mbappe. But we know that's
Oh my god, you literally took it off my tongue. I was literally about to say that.
Do you know who the best next thing is to profile Mbappe? Is Rafael Leao. Bring me Rafael. This guy, brother.
What if he just turns into Rashford 2.0?
No, brother, you need to watch him. This guy is
he gets injured.
You know when Arteta gets his hands on Rafael Leao, Jesus, it's game over.
All right, we're gonna wrap it up here, guys. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the stream. I felt like I tried to get to everybody, but it was getting complicated. And hopefully, everyone enjoyed the stream. Right now, we still have 614 people watching across all platforms. Big up DAYO, big up Belgium, big up Kenny Ken, big up African Gooner, big up Gunner Souls. Everyone's Twitter account names are in the pinned tweet on my Twitter, and of course, you guys can find my Twitter right there. EGTV EGA X, and of course my TikTok and my YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, guys. If you guys are new, I will, if we win the league, where I'm doing a 7-day celebration stream, and everybody's invited to come on the stream for as long as you want. Awesome. And we're gonna reminisce the whole time. We're gonna have Kenny Ken telling us about all the Champions League times we missed out. We're gonna have Belgium talking about all the times he went to games and he didn't know if we're gonna win or lose, and now we won the title. Guys, I still believe we're gonna win the league. I need you guys to all believe we're gonna win the league.
I'm all for that. I'm taking that all day long.
I'll be sleeping there, man. I'll be sleeping there.
I'll be absolutely devastated. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt if we don't win this league, because although I can see it happening, the pain's still gonna be, really bad like it was last season, because when you get that close and you've got a chance of winning the league and you don't win it, I think that's probably the worst pain you can feel as a fan, being so close to winning a championship and then not being winning.
You know something?
You're the best, aren't you?
All I have to say is to the haters, and to everyone who thinks Arsenal can't somehow get Man City to will them to drop points.
Stop it. Get some help.